Hey, so we have another question today, and this one's a little more deeper and longer, so bear with me here. But she says, sorry if this is a little dark, but how could I cope with being mentally ill? I learned recently that I have severe borderline personality disorder as well as schizophrenia. Both of these are basically uncurable and can make me unbearable to be around long term. I had been neglected and abandoned my whole life. Meeting new people and trying to get closer to them feels almost like I'm poisoning them. I do get better at times, but knowing that all the pain brought on to me and the pain I bring on to others is caused by something that's uncurable is something that I can't cope with. I've been talking to professionals in person, but it's still hard to come to terms with. What advice do you have with this? So I want to start out with what I think is the most obvious and correct advice, and that is that it is good that you're seeking actual professional help and that you should continue doing that. My only advice there would be that you don't have to go see the people that you're seeing right now, right? There's tons of options out there that could possibly fit you better. So don't be scared to experiment with who you're getting that professional help from. Because for me, I'm essentially just some guy on the internet, right? And while I think there is some positives to this kind of advice, being that it's sort of more down to earth, personal and relatable because it's from someone more similar to you. Just keep in mind that I'm not professionally trained or professionally knowledgeable in the area. Again, just some dude on the internet who wants to help a little bit. The first thing I want to touch on is that you were dealt a bad hand, right? I purposely want to make sure that I don't sugarcoat that fact. Abuse, neglection, and abandoning is not okay. And if you had to deal with that, just make sure you accept the fact that it happened and that you can't change it and that you shouldn't have been through it and that it's not your fault. The life that we're given in a way is not our choice. A lot of our starting conditions and the things that we'll be through put in life in the very beginning is predefined and not up to us. But what is up to you is what you do after the fact, what you do with the set of circumstances that are at your hand already. You are not responsible for the negative past actions of other people that were brought onto you. However, sadly, as unfair as it is, you are responsible with dealing with the aftermath and what you do and choose to do in response to the stuff that has happened to you. Even though it's unfair and you're put in that unfair situation, you still have control of what to do next. And all this stuff is going to be by no means an easy task. It's going to be very painful and take a lot of strength. But I already know that you have a lot of strength because you're already dealing with this stuff and you have enough strength just to respond and give this message out and share a little bit of your story and your feelings. So we both know that you already have the strength to be able to cope with it. It's just going to take an immense amount of time and effort. As for meeting new people and new friends and bringing them into your life, it is going to be a little bit tougher. Again, you were dealt a bad hand and the effects are going to prolong in you. However, some of the lower tier friends that wouldn't even be worth your time are just going to be weeded out. So that's at least something that you don't have to deal with. You have to believe that there are people out there who are going to push through this stuff for you because you are worth it to them. And not only are those people going to exist, but those are actually the people that you really want in your life as well. People that truly want to be there for you will push through all the negative aspects and all the problems with you and help you. So don't be afraid to let people in and don't block them out, because the ones that want to come in will come in and the ones that want to leave will leave, and the ones that want to leave are not meant to be there with you. I want to go back and retouch on the idea of having received a bad hand and taking that hand and doing what you can with it. This stuff will and can make it harder for you, but it by no means puts you out of play. The first example I want to bring up is a great movie starring Russell Crowe called A Beautiful Mind. Now mind you, I'm not telling you that you have to do something so great that they make a movie about you. However, this movie was about a famous mathematician named John Nash. He was a pioneer in many different mathematical areas, and he won a Nobel Prize in 1994 and an Abel Prize in 2015. And do you know what John Nash had? That's right, John Nash had schizophrenia. Another example I can provide is Darrell Hammond. Admittedly, I didn't know about him before this. However, he holds the record for the longest continuing cast member on SNL. And along with his great success, he also had PTSD, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and borderline personality disorder. I don't tell you about these two people to put them up above you or make you feel like you have to achieve that level of success, just to show you that you can go on and you can move on with life and you can make what you want out of it. I want to end with two quotes from Darrell Hammond and then another one from John. Both from Hammond show how he's openly talking about his problems and accepting them. The first one, he says, "The fact is, I kept trying to get back up. And then I did. And then my brilliant psychiatrist, Dr. K, had told me that the only way to move on from trauma is forgiveness, giving up the right to hit back harder than you were hit in the first place." And lastly from John, "As you will find in multivariable calculus, there's often a number of solutions for any given problem. You've survived up until this point. I know you can keep going. I wish you the best of luck."